All right, guys, so listen, welcome to the question and answer. Today is September 17th. It wouldn't be so easy if we didn't have at least a little bit of banter at the beginning, which hopefully we will cut out. All right, let's see. Let's just jump right into what's going on. So welcome to Seme Easy for all those people that are new members. We actually did pick up quite a few new members since our last hangout. So welcome to you guys. We're going to jump into what's new in the SERPs. Now, there's a couple of things that I noticed in the SERPs, and there's a couple of things that I pointed out to Jake. I'm going to be really honest. I don't know how long they've been there because I really haven't picked up on it before. What we're going to do today is, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about just what's going on, things that we've seen over the last week or two. We want to hear from you guys, and then we're going to get into an open question and answer, and we'll stay here as long as we can to answer those questions for those of you that are brand new. So what's new in the SERPs? I don't know if you guys have seen this, right? So you do a search, and I'm seeing these little things here popping up, right, where it says like Kelly's Blue Book, has a Wikipedia reference, it has a Cars.com reference.
It always used to show that, but what it would show is, I got some guys working in my house here, it might get a little construction-y sounding at times, but what it used to show was like the city-state data, where it pulled data out of the database and try to rebuild their site map, and it would just show like the silo structure itself. But they've changed now to showing authoritative backlinks, so it's pretty cool.
So, like, one of the things that you guys are going to want to do is, you know, it does sound like an elephant.
Yeah, I'm going to mute my mic here.
Sure. All right, so what we're seeing is that there's a ton of these different resources. If you guys have a money site, one of the first things that you guys should be doing, just from what we're seeing in the SERPs, is creating a Wikipedia business page. Now, the problem is with a Wikipedia business page, most people get the Wikipedia business page wrong. You cannot put any sort of self-promotion. You can't put any of that stuff in there. It's got to be basically just the information about your business or about your client's business. Also, if you don't have a Wikipedia account, sometimes they will not let you create a business page on your first outing. You know, you got to go in there and actually build up a little bit of a reputation. But there are plenty of people out there that can do it. I'm sure that there are plenty of people that are on Seme Easy that, you know, have spent some time on Wikipedia. We're seeing Wikipedias jump up all over the place. So once again, hey, listen, if you have a Wikipedia account that you can do this, guys, that's a great service to offer. Have somebody write it up. You can post it, or you can charge somebody to post it up, all that sort of stuff, okay? So once again, this is just something that we're seeing. What I'd like you guys to do, and I'm going to start a thread, all the different places that are being pulled as resources, so like not just Wikipedia, but there are other sources as well that are pulling this. You know, Cars.com, as you can see here, there's literally thousands of them. They're like, they're almost, think about them like citations for local SEO, but these are like citations now for national sites or any sort of sites at all. You know, these are just great authoritative you know, citations, if you will. I mean, I'm using the word citations. I'm using it a little loosely. But once again, something that you guys should definitely be checking into, because we're seeing that a lot of the ones popping up on page one. And Steve did bring up a good point. He's not seeing it in the UK. I didn't even check the UK, but we are seeing it here in the States on the .com all the time. If you guys want to just open up a new tab even and just check it out yourself right now, you'll actually see exactly what I'm talking about. Question, what do you suggest for a review schema on all pages? We'll get to that, Justin. We'll get to all your questions in a little bit. Just kind of want to blow through this stuff first, and then we will jump into that. All right, so like I said, this is gigantic. Obviously, Google wants to show that, you know, Google wants to see that you're an authority if they're going to rank you. This is one of the greatest ways that you can become an authority right off the bat. We are seeing that a lot of the pages on page one for like real competitive terms all have these citations. So once again, put it down in your book. We're going to start to look into it a little bit more. You know, Jake and I really don't like to put things out before we really test it. So we're just kind of putting this out as an interlude to one of the things that we're going to be looking into. So we'll just take that and we will file it for now. All right. Anybody have any questions about this? Anybody not understand what I'm talking about? Yes, 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 yes. Somebody's asking, can I run a do-it-yourself Wikipedia video? Yeah, we could probably go in there and show you guys. There actually, we actually looked up on like SEO clerks and stuff like that, places that we like to outsource some of the little bit more technical SEO things that we will outsource. There are people that will do it on there. It's a little expensive, the price that they're asking for there. Some of these guys are asking for like $120. Some of them are doing it for $90. I think it's a little expensive, but you know, once again, it's I think it's needed. So you know, if we can find a nice resource that's inexpensive that will do it, then that's a home run. All right, let's move on. A lot of people saying that they're not seeing it in the UK, so that's interesting. But we always know that honestly, Google.co.uk, they tend to test on .com with everything, and then they'll roll it out to some of the other some of the other Googles. Actually, some of the other Googles right now, like even the ones like Google.br and a lot of these other ones, they don't even have a lot of the spam filters in place that you see on .com right now. So those are kind of wide open. Okay, some people saying that they have seen it in the UK, you know, so I'm sure it's maybe hit or miss. They may be just testing. Is it an add-on or a web page? It's actually a web page that refers to your business or refers to that site. So, you know, that's really what it is. Guys, you should jump in, start checking it out. And, you know, this is one of those things that I'm going to look for a lot of members' feedbacks on it as well, just to kind of get into, you know, what exactly is going on here. So somebody says, just to recap, no, it's not a subdomain, okay? What this is, actually, Jake, I'm gonna just show my, I have my screen up here right now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just jump in here real fast. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna do a search here. Can you guys see my screen? You guys see my screen? All right, so here, I'm just going to go down here. So not all of them have it, right? So like this one here, this KMC Motorsports, they don't have it. But like this guy does here, right? The Chevrolet dealer serving Suffolk, New York. So I click on it, and it's actually, this is actually being pulled because of DMOZ. All right, so I can actually open this up in a new tab, and the resource here is from DMOZ. So obviously DMOZ will be one of the ones that will make my list. Obviously thought DMOZ was relatively dead, but apparently Google still sort of loves it. So, all right, so there's that one, okay? Now let's go here to cars.com. We're going to click on this. Cars.com, it explains about what cars.com is. And then we will open up a new link and we will explore this out a little tiny bit. So, you know, classified ventures. Apparently they're listed on cars.com somehow, all right? Yeah, so, you know, once again, that one's a little strange. I'm not 100% sure about it. Once again, this is something that we just kind of ran across, and I was like, yeah, I'd like to throw it out, Jake. Even though, once again, we're still looking at this with fresh eyes for the first, I don't know, really only picking up on it in the last couple of days. So,
yeah, it's, I think you first brought it to my attention last week, middle of last week. I just haven't had time to fully vet it yet myself, but off of preliminary, you know, looks of it, it seems like they're favoring these directories. So, like we've always thought, or we've always sort of known that they did, but now we're actually sure that they're able to go in and pull out all the bits of information. We just got to figure out, you know, how to make it look more authoritative, essentially.
All right, so I'm just going to continue to scroll down. Now I'm just going to go to page 2 real fast. Okay, this one is autotrader.com. Let's see where they're pulling the information from. Once again, they're pulling it from Wikipedia. It looks like this is their business page on Wikipedia. And what I would do is, before you guys attempt to go out and create a business page on Wikipedia, so you're not looking to get your account banned, take a look at what some other guys have done. Like, for instance, take a look at this. Take a look at these guys. Take a look at other business pages on Wikipedia so you get a good idea. Do a little research. The research, I mean, I know that I put Wikipedia business pages up in the past, and some of them got taken down because there was like self-promotion and crap like that in there. You know, once again, this is something brand new in the SERPs, at least that we're picking up. Edmunds.com, you know, once again, it looks like Edmunds.com. They have a business page. Kelly Blue Book is here. Once again, they have a business page. So it's kind of interesting stuff. I'm just going to sign out of Skype real fast so those alerts don't keep popping up. All right, so you guys get the idea. With that, let us move on. All right. So we're all good on that. We'll get more information to you as it comes out. All right. So total black hat email ninja shit. This was something that I couldn't get over. I was getting spammed by somebody pretty fucking bad, and I couldn't actually figure out what exactly was going on. I would try and opt out of their email list, and it said, yeah, you're opt out. And I just kept putting back on the list, and I'm figuring that, okay, well, this is somebody just, re-uploading their original list right after everybody opts out. But I realized that it wasn't. Okay, I realized that it was something much more out of the box than that. Now, this is not something that I'm putting out there saying that you guys should do, okay? But this is something that I thought was so freaking smart because it was completely outside the box and out of the box thinking. So with that being said, I would get this spam email, and it looked freaking horrible, right? I mean, it was one of these emails that I was like, oh my God, like how does this person even think that I'm going to click on anything, right? So, it has the unsubscribe me from the list little link right there. I mean, and it was pretty big on it, all right? There was one button that was like, check out what my offer is, and the other one was unsubscribe me from this list. Now, it was actually pretty interesting because when I went to the page and I unsubscribed myself from the list, and I'm sure that you guys have seen this, it like brought me to a URL, and it said, you've been unsubscribed from this list. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. It doesn't look like this is a mail handler. What the hell is actually going on? So I start to look at the code on the site, and the code on the site actually had retarget pixels for AdWords and retarget pixels for Facebook. So what it basically did was it wanted to, and then all of a sudden these ads started following me all over the place, like a good retargeting ad, right? And I know that a couple of you guys are really big into retargeting, and I wanted to talk to some of you guys about retargeting. So if you guys want to reach out and get in touch with me after the webinar, I want to go into a lot of stuff in reference to retargeting. But this was like, it was really wild how they did this. So granted, those people that clicked on the offer, obviously they got the offer. So this person knew that, okay, fine, out of all of these people, this is how many people actually got the offer. But all those people that unsubscribed from the list actually got those retargeting pixels popped all over them. And I'm sure that the amount of people that they were able to generate through this retargeting process was so much more than the people that actually clicked on those ads. And now those ads are just going to continue following them around and everything else. It's actually pretty wild, right? So, yeah, I mean, as people are writing in the chat, right? Yeah, bastards, that rocks. LOL, you activated his retargeting pixels. That's exactly what I did. It's pretty wild. Now, I have to assume that whatever mail server they were using to send this shit out, they knew that they were going to burn it right off the bat. But I guess it really didn't matter, right? I mean, they just go balls to the wall, they send this out, and next thing you know, they've got a list of people that they're retargeting through Facebook ads when they go on Facebook, because they're real people, obviously, that clicked on this, right?
Yeah, that's why we send you guys.
And what they also look like...
That's why I was going to say that's why we send you guys so many emails. We just like you clicking the unsubscribe button.
Actually, you know what? We've never done that, but honestly, it's a pretty evil and yet cool idea. Well,
no, it's a great idea. I'm all for disruptive tech.
And I mean, you're also going to start seeing, I think, that a lot of people that are doing product launches, they're going to be putting out these pages where it's like, hey, free info about our product. Crazy. We all know some of those internet marketers that make crazy, pitches and they make, crazy promises and everything else. Well, you come to their training page, and all you're going to be doing is just hitting their retarget pixels, and those retargeting pixels are just going to go fucking nuts until they're done with that launch. So you guys are going to start seeing this shit, right? So anyway, long story short, that was something that I saw with this. I thought it was pretty freaking hot. And once again, we want to throw things out there to you guys that we think are hot. And a lot of times we'll get you guys coming back to us and say, yeah, you know what, I looked into this, I started to do this, and this is what I found. and we love to share information, man. I get on the phone with more people, and I know that I'm going to bite myself in the ass by doing this, but I get on the phone with more people each week, and I just talk to people. I mean, I was on the phone with I spoke to Frank this week, and Frank, by the way, loved your text messages. For anybody that didn't know, I was texting Frank earlier yesterday, and all of a sudden I start getting random texts at about 6 o'clock, like 6 hours later, him telling me that he's tired, he's resting, he's going to go to Red, whatever that meant. It was funny shit, and I'm like, Frank, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, fuck, wrong person. Pretty fucking funny shit. I was actually laughing my ass off. But I get on the phone with you guys all the time. And just to talk about different things that you might be doing, stuff that we have coming up, stuff that we're doing. We love to jump in and see if we can take what we're doing and merge it with things that other people are doing. So like we're always open for that, all right? And I'll always get on the phone as long as I can find time. And I'll talk to anybody, even if they're having an issue, they're having a problem. I don't know many internet marketers, and once again, we're not really internet marketers, we're SEO guys, that will jump on the phone and talk to all of their people. It's like the people at Home Depot, right? Like they got a shirt on that says, how can I help you? But on the back of their shirt is like, holy shit, leave me alone. When you walk up to them and say, where can I find the light bulb? You'll just start seeing them as you start to approach them down the aisle, they start running. So anyway, like I said, usually you guys can grab us on chat if you wanted to talk. You know, I ask, throw it into a private chat with me. If it's something that you wanted to talk about, you want to keep private. Well, like I said, we always jump on the phone. We always like to talk, all right? So anyway, this is one of those things, super cool, super wild, sort of evil, really awesome all at the same time. And that's it, all right? So let's move forward. iMacros, right? So a lot of people contacted us, and I wanted to get an iMacro section set up in the forum, which we will get done probably by the end of this webinar. We'll just open up a little section for iMacros so we can start sharing them. I have a bunch of iMacros I wanted to share with you guys. But I had a lot of guys that came to me and they were like, listen, I need to get some iMacros done quickly. I really don't want to start how to do iMacros, even though it's really easy. But there are iMacros that can be built that like can pull shit from a CSV file or drop stuff into a CSV file, which makes things a little bit more complicated. You know, so I started looking around, just fast resources. You guys, if you guys don't know, I love Fiverr. I actually have a piece of software called Qzx900, and once again, I have no affiliate with them. And I've downloaded this, and I love to scrape Fiverr for all sorts of really cool gigs that are out there. So, you know, just jumping on Fiverr, all these people that might write iMacro scripts, they'll give you iMacro lessons, all sorts of stuff, $5. You know, if it's something that's a little complicated, you know, throw the guy an extra. You guys would be shocked, but we use Fiverr all the time to outsource a lot of stuff. I use it on a daily basis. And it's amazing what, you know, the person offers something for $5, and I'll just hit them up and say, listen, dude, I'm willing to pay you an extra $5 if you can just take your shit and do this with it. And you'd be amazed about how people will jump up and down and do all sorts of crazy shit on Fiverr. And even SEO clerks and stuff like that. If you guys aren't familiar, SEO clerks is like a little bit more expensive Fiverr, really more set up for the SEO community. They've got some really cool stuff on there. We found some really cool stuff. And we might even open up a section in reference to outsourcing, you know, just cool gigs that we find and stuff like that. But once again, if you want to get an iMacro script written up, I actually contacted one of these guys on Fiverr, and they're in the process right now of doing something that I can pull stuff out of a CSV file and then use it within my Google searches and shit like that, so it's really kind of cool. So once again, just a good resource. I mean, you guys should all know about Fiverr, but yes, there are people on here that will create iMacro scripts for you. So Jake, if you can, if you remember, if we could just set up an iMacros section and maybe an outsourcing section in the forum.
Yeah, I don't see that now.
That'll be good. And moving forward. So what else is new? I think that's really it for what's going on the SERP front. We are still seeing lots of effects from, you know, from the Pigeon update, still rolling out, Google constantly tweaking. There was a new tool that came out that I thought looked really cool, and I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Somebody will throw it into the chat. But the reason why I thought the tool was cool, what it does, and once again, I'll have to find it. But what it does is it actually, every single day or every couple of hours, it's constantly going through the SERPs, you know, page 1 and page 2 of whatever keyword you put in there. And it's showing the movement going on page 1 and page 2, and then I think it actually dives in. There was something called was something called Page One Infiltrator a while back, and I used to use it on a regular basis because it was great. It didn't make a difference what Google did, right? All you were doing was comparing what was on page one to your website. So whatever the algorithm change was, it didn't make a difference. You were only comparing your website to the shit that was already on page one that was obviously doing what was right in Google's eyes at that time. So I'll have to remember what the name of the software is. It was pretty cool. Once again, I have no affiliate with them. We don't send out affiliate links, as you guys know. And that's it. What new software are you guys planning to launch? We're working on, which is half the reason why you guys haven't seen Jake around at all. Jake hasn't been sleeping for like the last 3 days. I don't know what the freak he's running on, a combination of maybe Adderall and caffeine injections into his veins, but he's actually working on something right now that's
hey, let's not give away the secrets. It's the only thing. Then everybody will be a programmer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, we are working on something pretty cool. We are working on also, as soon as this project, and this project is like a huge undertaking, we had guys fly in from the Silicon Valley. We partnered up with them in reference to some of the stuff that we're doing. Just some of the greatest, not only the greatest guys, but the greatest programmers. Unbelievable stuff. So yes, we have some really, really wild stuff coming out. We will let you guys know. Jake, we were also talking about we were going to release 1 or 2 new extensions. So they will be coming probably within the next month or 2, hopefully. One for schema and one for something else that's pretty cool. Once again, we are going to be putting out some new extensions for you guys to give you guys a little bit more flexibility. Let's see here. Can you give us some examples of what you guys use iMacros for? Sure, we use iMacros for all sorts of stuff, anything that we have to do on a regular basis and we want to automate. So for instance, when we would hook things up into Cloudflare, we would use an iMacro to make sure that everything got set properly into Cloudflare and filling out all the forms and everything else. So I'm going to start doing a couple of tutorials on iMacros and get into it a little bit heavier than what we did on the last webinar, which was automating your business. And I know those people have been asking about the last 2 webinars. Yeah, once again, because Jake hasn't been sleeping much, we will get those webinars up, we promise. We haven't forgotten. Only 24 hours in a day, and Jake's been using 26 of them. So, did you send the micros? I don't know what that means. Did you send the micros? All right, so moving forward, if you could just clarify that, did you send the micros? I'm not 100% sure.
He may have meant macros. He may have meant the macros.
All right, so, yeah, but I don't know where he meant, did I send the macros? Where did I send the macros? I'm not sure. Okay, so, all right. Once again, we are still looking for a couple of limited beta testers. Even though the list is basically closed out at this point, you can still put yourself in. Now, anybody who's curious about why it's taking a little bit longer, it's because Jake is just working on some wild stuff, where we were able to target a certain amount of locations. We'll be able to target like anywhere we want, huge amounts of locations, all sorts of crazy stuff, and everything built in. So that's the reason why we haven't launched Cert Landlord to our beta testers.
Yeah, I don't know how excited you want to get everybody, but we're looking at deployment times right now of about, for a state site, somewhere in the range of 1 minute 30 seconds. For a national site, in the range of 7 minutes to 10 minutes tops, from entry of the data to pushing the build button to full deployment live on the web, ready for indexing.
You are literally going to see, about 5,000 pages ranking page 1
within the first
4 hours.
Yeah.
For those of you that are not on the beta test list, you can send in a support ticket requesting to get on it. Somebody's asking, will Cert Landlord be for the UK as well? Yes, that is what we are working on. We hope to have that implemented. Let's see. If you're not sure if you're on the list, just send in a support ticket. Okay, I don't want to hold up. Have too much I know people always complain that we have too much banter. We really do, and it's something we've got to get a little bit better about. But if you're not sure, put yourself on the list, okay? You can confirm. I thought you said in the webinar you would be sending out macro. Yeah, we're going to be putting that in the section on the website, in the forum section under the iMacro section that we're going to put up. CERT landlord, Canada as well? Yes, Canada as well. UK, Canada, all sorts of places. All right, we actually have a full list right now of, we're looking for 5 hard chargers, okay? When I was in the Marine Corps, everything was hard charger, you know, and we come to find out that after I was talking to Frank's mom, and don't jump on Frank's mom here, okay? Frank's mom was the 2nd drill instructor commissioned at Paris Island, which means that, man, Frank had a tough life growing up, because I'll tell you what, I was scared shitless of my drill instructors down at Paris Island, but female drill instructors were that much tougher. So unbelievable, okay? So anyway, with that being said, and that's why I love to get to know the members here in the community here. So we are looking for 5 hard chargers. We had a lot of people that put it in. What this is, if you're looking, you know, if you want to find out what the secret project is all about, put in a support ticket. We're looking for a sales staff, okay? You don't need to know anything about SEO, or you have to know minimal about SEO, and you know, why, if something is in front of you, why it will make more sales, okay? That's about the extent of the knowledge that you need. So what we're looking for is, we're looking for 5 guys to actually partner with us, build an entire system that we will build, that you guys will use, but together work out all the resources that are going to be needed, because we've cracked the code on something that was pretty wild, okay, and that nobody else out there is doing. So what we want to do is, we want to touch base with about 5 sales guys that can go out and just sell this to, when you talk about a community of people that are really looking for this, that there's no other option for them, and now you can give them an option. If you think you can make that sale, which I think that we all can, you know, every person that I've spoken to in reference to this has shown extreme interest, and maybe even a follow-up or 2, but we've been able to close a ridiculous amount on our own. But we have so much stuff going on right now that we just don't have the manpower to do it, and you know, we figured, why not open it up to our people. 1 or 2 guys, yeah, I've showed it to 1 or 2 guys so far, and they are, you know, they are floored with it. A couple of things here, I've seen it, I love it, it's awesome. That's it. Let's see. Yes, and if somebody wants to know this secret project, the reason why we want 5 hard chargers, like within the U.S., but anybody, anywhere in the world, we're looking for like 5 people in each one of those areas, okay? I probably should have been a little bit more specific about that, because they're completely different animals. From the U.S. to, like, you know, from like a .com to a .co.uk, completely different animals, okay? So, moving on. All right, guys, what we're going to do is we are going to open it up for some questions. I know that you guys have a ton of different questions. We've been seeing a lot of questions coming in through support. What I would ask is, if you have a question that doesn't revolve around, like, you know, double agent, or like your membership, or like index assault just not working, like you're getting an error. But if you're just not seeing the bots come fast enough, this is stuff posted in the forums. So many guys have such experience. Like, I can't even tell you, Joe Noel is like one of the most, he's like a godsend, okay? He's a wealth of information. He's like always on the site. He's always willing to help in there, jump in there, and like, he gives people really good information. And there's a lot of you guys that are constantly, you know, helping other people out. We love to see that. That's what this community is supposed to be about. But when you put the questions into support, unfortunately, not everybody gets a chance to see it. So don't, you know, feel free, jump into the forum. If you have an issue with something, or if there's a problem in reference to your site, or setting something up in Cloudflare or something like that, put it into the forums. We're going to try and help you guys out as much as we can in the support ticket. But once again, as you guys can understand, support kind of overwhelms us at certain points when we have questions that are completely off base, and we don't like to not answer questions. So you know, we will go ahead and answer them, but it's kind of tying us down here, okay? All right, let me just go through some of the questions here real fast. First question, what is the deal with Cloudflare security flaws a couple of weeks ago? I don't think you're talking about Cloudflare. I think you're talking about Cloud PBN, which is an internet marketing product. Cloudflare doesn't have any security flaws. Actually, no, that's not true. They did have something. Cloudflare did have a little something a little while back.
Everybody did. It was the OpenSSL bug.
Right, right. So, I mean, that was something that...
Literally the entire web was open.
And also, for those people that are still on this, because we're getting tons of questions about this, Jake, do you want to talk real quick about the SSL certificates and people thinking that they're going to rank because of SSL certificates because of that stupid thing that Google put out?
Yeah, we addressed it a while back. That was really more of a...
We have a couple of new members that are still asking about it.
Yeah, that was really more of a PR campaign on behalf of Google. Very rarely does Google come out and tell web developers what they should be doing to rank higher on the SERPs themselves. Usually what Google straight up tells webmasters and anybody looking to jump into SEO is don't do it. You know, just buy AdWords, and that's what you should be doing. So you should always be wary when Google's telling you what you should be doing to rank higher, because that's just not in their nature. But looking further into it and analyzing it a bit, they say they're treating it as a web ranking signal, which just is fancy speak for it's another little variable in their algorithm for determining what your, you know, where you should sit in the SERP itself. So with that said, I mean, if they are valuing it, it's going to be such a small infinitesimal amount that it's not going to trump doing some on-site SEO or some off-site SEO. Your time is much better spent and your money is much better spent on that. It's really just Google trying to, you know, look like it's saving the world and saving the internet and making everybody get SSL certificates and making the world a safer place, because that's what Google does. And they're, well, what's their motto? Their motto, we're not evil or something like that. Do no evil.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah, but anyways, in essence, looking at it a bit further, they didn't say it's being treated as a positive signal. They're just saying it's being do no harm. That's what it is. Yeah, they're just saying that it's being treated as a signal itself. So you don't even know if it's a good signal. They might be seeing like, oh, well, you know, we saw these sites before and we flagged them, and but we didn't tell the webmaster we flagged them, and now we see that every single one of those sites in that network just got an SSL certificate, you know. And that site, it's a massive directory site with no user login and no payment processing. What business do they have having an SSL certificate in the first place?
Yeah, and not only that, guys, but an SSL certificate, if you're talking about one of those $10 little, you know, we'll give you an SSL certificate for $10 for the year, yeah, that ain't going to help jack squat.
Yeah.
They're talking about the big third-party, you know, SSL certificates that, you know, you're going to be paying a couple $100 a month, you know, because you're a huge e-commerce site and stuff like that. You know, so I mean that's also what they're referring to as well. And honestly, if you put things into perspective, a site that's spending a couple $100 on their SSL certificate every month, chances are they have a pretty decent sized marketing budget because they need to recoup some of this money, and they probably have a pretty decent site where they're doing some decent sales and people are searching for them already. So once again, put it all into perspective about the SSL certificates. You know, I don't normally trust when Google says do this and you will rank. So, you know, once again, moving on. I'm new here, so forgive me if I'm stupid. You're not stupid. Remember, there's no such thing as stupid questions. Only
stupid people.
So when doing a brand new domain in Cloudflare and see that for different for root, sub, path, etc., does it make a difference in how do we choose which to set up?
No, in Cloudflare, all you're doing is using it as a DNS resolver, and it's pointing back to your box. You have your virtual host service running on your box, either through like Nginx or Apache or whatever, and that's what directs, you know, the flow of information, so to say. It directs the server where to which path it should be loading for that resource.
We only actually use 3 of them. One is, you know, and what I'll do is Jake, and Jake's been on top of me, and I got to get this done too, so I will get this done first thing in the morning. I'll make just a whole little tiny training video on how we use Cloudflare, and I'll take the same iMacro that I use and I'll pop it into the iMacro section on the forum. Okay.
Yeah.
There's only 3 of them that we use. We use an FTP, we use a CNAME for the www, and then just a regular A record.
Yep.
Is poking still dead due to the 30-day sandbox? All right. Well, you know what? We get people asking this question a lot about this whole 30-day sandbox, and they're like, you know, your landlord sites won't rank because of the 30-day sandbox, and people just have it all wrong. Okay. That's not. I mean, this is like the game of telephone, which we've talked about before, where people, they hear information, they think they understand what it means, and then they go out and repeat it. And then that information gets repeated 10 times with little tiny skews that keep getting further away from the truth. So with that being said, I'm going to give you the definitive answer right now, okay? There isn't a 30-day sandbox, okay? 30 days, I don't know where somebody came up with it, okay? But there is an algorithm, there is a patent that Google grabbed called, it is called ranking documents. You guys can go check it out. But if you don't want to go check it out, that's cool, okay? I'll give it the download to you real fast. What Google did was they basically said, look, you know, links are an issue, right? We realize that links are an issue. We realize that private blog networks are an issue. We realize this. We know that this is a whole. So what we're going to do is, if we have 2 websites that are exactly the same, everything is the same on the websites, and don't scream duplicate content because that's not what I'm talking about. But all things being equal, right? You have 2 websites, and I point the same value links to one website as I have a different set of links that I point to the other website. Okay, both of those websites are going to react differently. With the Google, with the ranking documents, sort of like a shift in their algorithm. And what they'll do is they may take one website and shoot it right up to the top page. There might not be any filter at all on those links and the link juice flow, okay? And the sandbox that they're talking about is not pages ranking. They're talking about link juice flowing from one website to another, okay? Now, the other website, it might actually tank, okay? And it might go from position 8 to position 20, okay? And what Google is waiting for is they're waiting to see what the response is from the SEO. If the SEO says, holy shit, this website just tanked, all right, I need to pull these links off, Google realizes right then and there that you guys were manipulating, and they will slap that site silly.
Sounds like like a disavow tool to me.
Nah, not really. What it is it's more that there'll be, you know, if you have 2 websites, or if you have a website, you're building links to it, randomly things are going to happen with that website until it gets to a certain period of time that Google will then trust all of those links, that those links are legitimate, okay? They're looking to see what the response is from the SEO to just slap the shit out of you. Yeah, I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying, Jake, in reference to the disavow tool, sort of, right? Like, by you making that change and Google...
Yeah, exactly. It's just that, yeah, once you get that Webmaster Tools notification, it's like, do you want to disavow? It's almost like your parent telling you to write a letter to the neighbor for kicking their cat or something, you know? It's like...
And disavow, for all those people that continue to ask about disavow, just so you know, disavow does not allow you to pick out the good links from the bad links and just disavow the bad links. Google will not do jack crap about it unless you disavow like 95% of all of your links. Okay, then Google will actually take a look at it and actually decide, okay, you know what, maybe we'll do something here, but you're going to lose all of that juice. Now, there's a couple of options when you get hit into that penalty. You could create a new domain name and start from scratch and 301 this domain name to the old one.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen those penalties push forward. Some people say yes, some people say no. We haven't seen it. I've actually seen in my own case that somebody's just ranking from just 301 redirecting one bad domain that got slapped to another bad domain that got slapped, and they just keep going, and they keep showing up. But, you know, the disavow, you need to disavow a lot. You can't just disavow a little bit. And getting back to the 30-day sandbox penalty, the only thing that you can do is when you're building your links, keep them at a constant pace. Somebody hit me up on Facebook the other day, and they were like, hey, listen, you know what, I'm building links, and my site went from, you know, number 20 down to number 11 in like 3 or 4 days, which tells you that there's still sandbox there. And now, you know, I seem to be stuck at number 8. What do I do? And I said, just keep building at the same rate that you're building now. Don't try and force it. Just like when you're a little kid, if you try and force something, you're going to break it. just as me around the house trying to do handiwork. If I force it, I break it. So don't force it. Just continue moving at the same pace that you're moving. All right, I'm going to move on. Okay, so I have a huge SERP landlord site that is ranking for a lot of pages and generating some AdSense revenue. Let me just tell you that, David, first of all, I couldn't be happier for you because you're just a good guy. Where would you start finding local businesses to rent pages? Once again, more of a sales thing. We can actually do a sales training if we want, but we've been using like local lead, localizer, lead local. I forget which one it is. One of my staff has it, and they're going through. And whatever we have built, we'll go out and we'll try and lease out. Most of the time, we'll build out a brand new site for a new client that we get on board. And we work it that way, so we kind of already know what we're building ahead of time. And David, hit me up afterwards. I want to touch base with you. I know that you're starting to have some great successes. I'd just love to hear from you about what those successes are. Schema and doing reviews or ranking for a massive landlord type style site. Does ranking numbers, stars need to be different for each page? Yes, Doug, they should. And obviously, each one of those, like the review stars, yes. And you can put in there anything from, let's say, 4 to 5, 4.5, 5. Each one of those pages should be somewhat different, and that review needs to be different on every single page. We've had sites where we put out the review exactly the same, and it showed up, and after a couple hundred pages got indexed, it all fell off. Let's see. How about using Main WP as a platform to manage our PBN networks? Main WP works great. We've used that at one point. Now we use Infinite WP. Also works great, and it's free. And they had security issues too in the past, just so you know. They patched them up. The big thing is, the big issue, and Frank really brought this out. If you guys, oh, by the way, if you guys aren't on the SEO show, if you guys don't watch it, you guys need to, because it's a freaking rocking show and very entertaining, but very informative. The biggest issue that a lot of people were having wasn't even this, there were security issues that needed to be patched. When somebody brings something to your attention, like when people start to bring stuff to our attention, we'll dig in and see if it's an issue first. Sometimes it's just an issue for one person, but when we're starting to see it pop for a bunch of people, the response should be, yeah, listen, guys, thanks for bringing it to our attention. We're going to fix that, okay? We might not have to fix immediately, but to acknowledge that there's an issue and to acknowledge that you're going to fix it and then to actually follow through on that promise. Once again, we might not be the fastest because we want to find out different ways and the proper way to do it, and Jake will take whatever issue we have and kind of dissect it down to the littlest thing to make sure that we're good moving forward.
I spent 2 days building my own navigation bar.
Yeah, and if there's an issue with something, obviously we'll address it. And the thing is, any good business, and once again, this is not a knock to anybody, but any good business, if they see a flaw in something, acknowledge it, move forward. It doesn't make you look weak. It actually makes you look like you're a business that listens to your freaking community. So Infinite WP, just so you know, they had issues in the past. They listened to their people. Main WP, they had issues in the past, both of them. And once again, they have a pretty strong user base, so they make sure now any security issues, any sort of footprint issues and stuff like that. And just so you guys know, there will be footprint issues on just about anything that you use on every one of your sites. The question is anybody looking for it? And B, how prominent is it? And, somebody had said, oh, well, there's a footprint issue with semis. Yeah, there is. For us to not have any footprint at all would be almost impossible.
Any theme you install has a footprint to it, and unless you bought the exclusive rights to that theme, well, guess what? You got a footprint for that specific theme. If Google decides to go after it, they're going to go after it. It's the same with Reno, Snurp, whatever. Yeah, it's all any plugin you install on your site, like a massive one like that, is going to have some sort of link back because, that's not a link back, so to say. I meant a footprint because it's standardized software. It's not being custom developed for each individual instance. It's being copied and duplicated.
Yep.
So
okay. The question: is there a way to set tag pages with a DA overlay without having to set a site-wide overlay? Unfortunately, no, there's not.
You can do categories.
Yes, you can do categories, but once again, that will still get your main pages as well within that category. But just the tag pages, no, unfortunately, no, there's no way. Is Cloudflare enough to hide our IPs? The answer to that is yes. Yep, that's the answer, yes.
Well, yes and no. It depends how bad Google wants to really find out where your stuff's sitting, because they are a registrar themselves and they could backdoor and worm their way through it. I have no doubt about that. And another thing with Cloudflare, I don't think you could just install it and you're magically secure. Make sure to put the wildcard variable before, as a subdomain in your A records. Otherwise, they could just hit your box at like one of the standard, subdomains like FTP or mail or whatnot, and it'll go straight through to the IP address of the box. So make sure you're doing that.
So yeah, I'll actually show you guys how we do that. I have showed it to you guys in the PBN training, but we'll create a separate training just for Cloudflare. And once again, I don't know if you guys realize this, but like nobody was talking about Cloudflare before we did this, and I'm just waiting for some of the other internet marketers to start putting it out there, and you guys will get a giggle out of it as well as us. I always like to get the email, 6 months after we've been doing something and say, hey, this is the next greatest thing. Okay, let's see. If an existing client asks you what you charge for a service you don't normally provide, do you tell him that you don't do it or sub it out or what? I hate to turn down money. Okay. This is what I will tell you. One of the best ways to keep your business running successfully is to not start running outside the box and start doing things that you're not familiar with. That's not to say that you can't then add that to your repertoire of services that you offer, but you got to make sure that you have it down. What I would tell a customer, if they wanted me to do a service for them and I don't currently do it, I would tell them, look, I'll look into it, and then we'll get into it from there. I can tell you that we've brought on clients where they were like, we want you to build a website and then do the SEO and everything else. Building websites for us brings our business down to our knees. And the reason being is not that we don't know how to build a website, but a client basically, it's sort of like logo design and all that other sort of stuff. Somebody says, whatever you think, and then whatever you think is not what they think, and then after it's built, they start coming back and go, well, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want changed, and it turns into a huge mess. So there are certain things that we know that we can outsource it right. We will absolutely do that. If we can't, then we in fact stay away from it. Or what we'll do is we'll hook them with another company that does that, and we'll take a piece of the action, and we'll just outsource it to them. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But just make sure that whoever you get into bed with, that you know what their capabilities are. We don't like to try and put our name on something that that's going to turn out to be a shitty product. Okay, so when buying a PBN, should we look at the metrics for the root, sub, path, or which? And then how do we set up the domain to use the metrics? Okay, so the best way to buy, I think No Hat SEO actually had a really good, Matt Stack, who I'm friends with on Skype, I was actually talking with today. He actually put out a really good guide, and I'll see from Matt if we can get that guide up. But it was like 11 ways to know how to buy, that you're not buying a shitty site for your PBN. It was actually pretty good. And basically, yeah, we're looking at the root directory. And then what we do is we use DigiLink Doctor, which is pretty expensive, but there's other ones out there, Link Juice Keeper, a bunch of other ones that that people had put out on the forums that people use for free. I know that Mark Upshaw, he had put out some stuff on reference to, he's really good at all of this, as far as, keeping the link juice and everything else within the PBNs. But you have to do something. So for those of you that are brand spanking new and don't understand that, right? So if I buy this website, okay, this PBN, this site that I'm going to use for my PBN, the reason why it has a lot of juice is probably because all the links aren't going back to the home page. They're going back to internal pages that were there at one point. What these pieces of software will do, what the programming will actually do with these plugins, is that when a spider or a person or a bot, but more importantly the spiders, when they hit those pages that didn't exist, it creates the page, creates a 301 redirect back to either the home page or wherever you want that juice to get flow to. If the page doesn't exist, that juice dies. So that's the reason why you want to use one of these pieces of software to keep that juice going within the private blog network, within your blog that you're using within your PBN. Okay? Just be careful. People are having an issue when they have like Link Juice Keeper or DigiLink Doctor, and they're trying to use double agent with that on the same site. They don't work well because everything is about 301 redirects, or and everything else. So it redirects you off that page and turned into a major conflict issue. So, okay, somebody's saying audio getting a bit fluttered. Hopefully the audio is okay. I had a bunch of PBN sites de-indexed recently. Is it smarter to remove all the links ASAP or leave them on there? If they're de-indexed, I would take the freaking links off myself. I really don't want de-indexed sites pointing links to my website. However, on the flip side, you do have, oh, wow, that's cool. You also have the ranked documents, the ranking documents, patent in play. I would take them off just to be safe. Recommend local lead generation tool that actually works. I'll have to look into that. There is a couple of local lead generation tools that we use. I just don't remember the name of them off the top of my head. Do you have a plugin to suggest for your review stars? Justin, I'm going to tell you to hang tight on that because one of the plugins that we're going to be putting out there will hopefully help you with that issue. Follow up on SERP. Do we need to update, change anything, rating, reviews, numbers on all the pages periodically to keep Google happy? No. No and yes. Okay, let's go with that. Obviously, Google loves a site that's not stagnant. Spinnery Writer actually just put something out there. I haven't played with it yet, but like they literally put it out there, I think yesterday or the day before, that will actually take a post and like, after it gets 7 days old, it will respin the post and post it out there for you again. There's also some content curation tools that will automatically post some content to your site just to keep the spiders coming back in, just to keep some freshness on your site. Yeah, I do recommend it, and we've also found that we've had great success by just not doing it either. But I think as you move forward, you're going to need something to be updated on the site at least every once in a while. So hopefully I answered that. Okay, here's my question. Built a new site on a brand new domain for a dentist client of mine. It's all good. 4 months in ranking all over the place. His old site was an EMD. We got control of the old domain, set it back up using Seme double agent. Immediately, his new site dropped off the planet in the SERPs. There's no reason in the world why double agent, unless you were using the clickjacking, why that would happen. You can send in a support ticket and we'll take a look at that, but there's no way in the world that we've been using it on thousands of sites. Never had that happen. Okay. Who does the SEO show? That's Frank. Frank does the SEO show, and we will go ahead and we'll get a link posted to Frank's SEO show. Can you screen that review stuff? Can you screen the review stuff?
No, you can screen share it.
Can I screen share it? Yeah, I'm not sure what to screen share at this point, though. I don't have anything set up for it. And I'd be like fumbling all over the place for it. Do you add Cloudflare to your site immediately, or do you build the site first? No, we add Cloudflare immediately. We make sure that the host resolves, so all you'll see is the CGI bin, and then we build our site out. In regards to, we don't do that question. He wants PPC management. Okay, yeah. Honestly, with PPC management, I don't do PPC management. That is something that we would tell our clients we don't do. But I would actually hook him up with somebody I partnered with, and I would take a percentage of that. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? Amen. Shutting down my website business for that very reason. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You know what? We're
That's
getting.
the problem. We have so many people in here.
Yeah,
we have so many people here that we're just getting backlogged, and some of the questions are referencing things we said, and we've just been saying so much that we don't even remember what they're in reference to. Okay, I just sent the support ticket in regarding the sales position you mentioned earlier today. Yes, awesome.
And for those of you that are, what do you call it? For those of you that are already on the list, you should have gotten back, you know, a little questionnaire that Ben sent back to you. If not, just check your email. What plugin are you speaking of? I'm not sure where that fit in. Have you guys looked at Pretty Link? You know what? No, Nick, I haven't looked at Pretty Link. I told you I would. I will. I'm actually writing down. I'm having Ben write it down too. I'm going to take a look at that. Pretty Link. You were saying that when we spoke on the phone, you were saying that it's pretty hot. I will definitely take a look at that. I just put a post-it note on my screen. De-indexing is happening much more frequently than in the past based upon all the noise out there on the forums. Any insights? Yeah. Google is going after PBN networks, period. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, most of the sites that you see getting de-indexed are private blog network sites.
This is Penguin and work.
Yeah. I mean, any insights on it? Yeah, you got to make sure you keep yourself as clean as you possibly can in reference to your hosting. You got to keep yourself as clean as you possibly can in reference to even the articles. Like one thing that I see, and everybody's like, well, I have completely different themes, completely different plugins and everything else, but they have on their homepage, they have 10 articles pointing back to, you know, 10 of their clients, and those are the links. The links are exactly the same from one site to the next, to the next, to the next. You know, and yeah, that's a huge footprint right there.
Well, that's the footprint that Google actually sees. Like when we're talking about footprints with like on-site loading of like plugin files or just like standardized code being duplicated and repeated, that's like Google sees that every day. That's nothing new to them, but Google's very good at analyzing linking structure for off-site, you know, targets. That's how they made their, well, not really how they made their money, but how they made their network was through their crawling algorithms. And that's, you know, they're very, very good, and they're very, very keen at picking up where these links are coming from, how their juice is flowing. They're the ones who wrote the algorithms. I mean, don't think you're tricking them too hard, and don't fool yourself.
Okay, is DigiLink Doctor still working? Yes, I still use it on all my PBNs. Andy Fletcher, yes, I think Andy Fletcher was the DigiLink Doctor. What do you recommend doing to get Google to start recrawling a site that seems to not be indexing quickly with new pages? Yes, it would be safe to use index assault. Yes, it would. Once again, if you use index assault, and I had somebody do this the other day, I had somebody, they had actually put the videos themselves on the pages and then tried to run index assault. If you already have the videos on the pages, use the ground assault rather than the nuclear option. Also, if you put new content out there, yes, you can run index assault again, but understand you should not have the crawler, should not be expecting that the crawlers are going to come in as fast as they did the first time on a brand new domain. Google, how they look at the site is like, yeah, okay, we know about it. We understand there's new content over there, and we'll get you it. We're a little busy right now, but we will definitely get you it. So that new content might not show up immediately. It might not. But once again, it's just, you know, it will get there much faster than if you don't run index assault. Usually within 24 hours, that will be indexed. So how do you set up domain servers on your domains automatically? Are you registering the domains through an API or assigning them name servers this way? All right, well, we tend to use Namecheap for a lot of our domains. And Namecheap has an option that you can set every new domain that you purchase to a default set of name servers. I think most domain registrars have it, unless they're trying to push you into their hosting. But you can set on a lot of the registrars out there what your default name servers are. So every time we register a domain, it automatically gets set to those name servers. That's how we do that. Okay. Okay, I installed DA on my Search Shaker site, I assume. I go to category override, I put in a website for the counties I want. It gives me an error message. This is somewhat embarrassing, isn't it? I guess that's the Cloudflare message. Seems we can't find what you have for house, searching for something. How can I fix this? Adrian sent in a support ticket, and when you, hey guys, do me a favor. When you guys send in a support ticket, like if it's something like, hey, can you take a look at my website? You know, I have an issue. Can you help me fix this? Do us a huge favor, like send us credentials. You know, that's gigantic for us. Let me just see here real fast. I want to put this out here. Okay, so it's, what the hell am I doing here? Okay, so I want to put the SEO show out there.
It doesn't let you pull down a question. That's weird.
It doesn't.
It used to. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
No, you can just copy paste it from the lower docs.
Can I?
Yeah, I beat you to it.
All right, so Jake got it. So that is the SEO show. Once again, if you guys don't know Frank is like freaking rocking, all right? Great guy, and Byron, not looking to leave Byron out on this too. And Frank, when we talk, I'd like to get Byron on the call too because we love Byron. Super cool dude. One thing I noticed on your show, Byron stands the whole time.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I like that. I'd love to see what his actual setup looks like in front of him, which is really wild. But yeah, Frank is just a hardcore. He doesn't. Frank doesn't give a rat's ass about who he offends and whatever else. He just puts out good hardcore information. Like I said, super terrific guy. Do you use Cloudflare for normal DA sites? We use Cloudflare for almost everything. We actually even use Cloudflare for a lot of our money sites. Actually, Seme's is on Cloudflare.
Yeah, 200 extra bucks a month for it too.
Yeah, because we have SLs, we have SSL certificates, and we have all sorts of other stuff in there.
Not on the front end, it's all back end stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, we use it all the time. And the reason why we use it, the reason why I suggest other people to use it is that, I'll give you a perfect example. I used to use Bluehost all the time, right back in the day. And Bluehost was my domain registrar. They were my hosting provider. They were my DNS server. They were everything, okay? Bluehost would go down for like a day at a time. And then all of a sudden, you remember those days, Jay, right? Twitter would blow up on Bluehost support and freaking sites were down, like half the internet, you know, anybody who had Bluehost, the shit was just down, you know. So what we can actually do now is, and we've gotten much better, we actually have site backups. So what we can do is if the DNS goes down, we could just repoint that DNS and we have a controller. It's not all going through one person anymore. If we need to switch servers from one server to another, it's very simple. We wrote a script in iMacros. It goes in and it changes all of our IP addresses to the new server, and it resolves like instantly. So it also protects thwarts from hacking. And if you guys get hacked while you're on Cloudflare, you didn't do your settings correctly. Somebody contacted and said, "Oh, I hooked into Cloudflare and I got hacked." They also didn't get hacked through Cloudflare. They got hacked through WordPress. It's like their shit was like admin and their password was password.
Oh, that reminds me. If any of you have Revolution Slider, I think it's one of the most popular WordPress plugins of all time, sold on the Envato marketplace. There's a huge, gaping, bigger than something Frank would say, security flaw in the earlier versions. They fixed it in their latest release. Tons of theme theme developers and distributors have been, contacting all of their customers and letting them know of the updates as they come out and whatever. But essentially what it allowed you to do is something called local file inclusion. And I was able to, just as soon as I read the article, I knew what was going on. I started looking just quickly. I was doing Google searches to see which websites were running, talk about Footprint again, which one of these websites were running this plugin. The older versions, and I found literally hundreds of them, and I went to like a select handful of them, loaded them up in a Tor browser, and ran the little script I had to go and pull out the, it essentially just pulled out the WP config file. So then I had access to their salt keys, I had access to their database, I had access to the username for the database, which oftentimes was the reseller account itself for that specific site. So then I'd have access to their server. Just through literally 15 seconds, I got a 5-second Google search and then 10 seconds of running code, I was able to access as many websites and servers as I needed. So if you have Revolution Slider installed, make sure you update it. Otherwise, you might as well have no security software installed and be handing out your passwords to everybody who's interested in hacking your box.
Okay, so somebody's asking about, don't you worry about being an unnatural footprint that nearly 100% of all your high-value links come in from Cloudflare? No, because Google's not looking at, well, these are high-value links and these are crappy links, okay? So just one of a simple link building, like for instance, if we're trying to get a local SEO client to rank, we'll put up 2, 3, 4, and then we'll increase the amount of PBNs that we need within our network. We go out, we do a really good press release that's not like one of these SEO bullshit press releases. It's like an SEO, it's like a press release that actually gets out to like real news sources and shit like that. And you know, there's enough IP diversification there, and no, we don't get concerned about IPs, about Cloudflare creating a footprint or whatever else. If all you're doing is a couple of high-ranking PR links to your site, and that's it, I would worry about that more than I would worry about the footprint from Cloudflare. Millions upon millions upon millions of sites are using Cloudflare. Most of them they're only using a handful of different name servers. I would not worry about that because you're also going to have other links coming to your sites as well. If you wanted to, there are other cloud networks out there. We like Cloudflare the best. We think it's just the bomb. So it's the only one that we use, but there are other ones out there.
Yeah, there's plenty of open DNS servers. There's plenty of open cloud-based, CDN networks.
And it said it would seem to me that it's worthwhile to diversify a couple of HostGator, Bluehost, just to a little better. Yeah, I mean you could definitely diversify out the IP addresses that Cloudflare account is pointing to. That's not a big deal. And at the very end, he says, "Am I being too paranoid?" I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that you can become too paranoid, but where the paranoia becomes an issue is when you stop moving forward because you're paranoid. Okay, you got to just keep moving forward. All right. As you see things develop, then you can react to them. But the biggest issue that almost everybody has in SEO when they first start out, and it usually takes a while for them to get past, is that they go through that analysis paralysis stage where they just overthink the shit out of everything. I can tell you right now that we're keeping a really good eye on it. If something changes, we're going to know about it in this community. Everybody seems to be using Cloudflare right now based on our recommendations. If something happens, you're going to hear about it really quick. You got to move forward with what works, and you got to move forward fast with it. We would have clients that would ask us all the time, Jay, remember, you've been on these phone calls. We're like, well, the stuff that you're doing right now works. Well, what about in 6 months from now? What if it doesn't work in 6 months from now or a year from now? And my analogy is always the same. I go, well, so Nike creates a shoe that's in high demand right now, but it won't be in high demand in a year from now. So they shouldn't make the shoe, because in a year from now, people might not want it, or they might be looking for something different. Use what works right now. Don't do something stupid that's going to get yourself really jammed up. But, how we do all of our SEO is that, we use, like I said, we use a couple of PBN sites. We don't get crazy with the PBN sites that we're pointing to our clients, just enough to get them to where they need to be. We use organic traffic funnels. That's our second service that we offer them. And then we offer them something else as well. So, we keep it very simple. We know it works, and we monitor the crap out of it to make sure that if anything changes, then we change too. We are definitely not ashamed. Actually, we're actually really proud of it that, we may put something out there, and then a week from now, it might not be working. And you know what? That is what SEO is all about. And we actually have gotten a couple of people that have gotten upset. They go, well, you told us to do this last week, and this week it's not working. Well, dude, welcome to the world of SEO. You got to be flexible. You got to be able to maneuver and through the waters, because shit never stays the same. There's certain things that will stay constant and will go for a long time as long as people don't screw them up. But all somebody's going to need to do is put out a put out a WS show or put out, some stupid shit in reference to, using Cloudflare to hide their PBM networks, and you can guarantee yourself that shit will be done. And when that happens, we'll have to figure out what the next thing is. Now, the good thing is that Jake and I spent a buttload of time, an absolute buttload of time, having, backup plan A, backup plan B, C, D, E. So when one thing works, we're not scrambling to try and find something. We already have something in our book of tricks that we can pull out and say, okay, now it's time to deploy this. And so, that's where we try and stay on top of it. And, anybody who's curious about, they're like, well, I'm paying $37 a month for Seme. Well, yeah, you're paying $37 a month to A, have access to software that we're constantly, updating, but B, it's so you can go out there and start working and not have to run all these tests and experiments yourself. Let me just tell you, if I found a resource for $37, I'd be all over it like white on rice. A lot of the other resources out there, they're charging $500 a month or $3,000 to get into. And I think that we have some more cutting-edge stuff than some of these guys. And that's not to say that these guys are bad. Some of them are freaking awesome. Absolutely awesome SEOs, great communities. But the thing is, we all do something slightly different. The nice part is Jake and I just keep stacking shit. That when one thing doesn't work, we've already got something else. And our brains, unfortunately, we're like, what, Jake, now 5 projects in the hole of things that we want to do that are sitting up here on our board?
Yeah, we've got like 3 joint ventures, one of which we haven't even had time to sit down and do what we're supposed to be doing for it. It's we're pretty packed here.
So, like I said, it's all a matter of, looking forward and seeing what's next.
In the hole, of course.
Is there a plugin to use for your PBN where it automatically redirects incoming links to the homepage, 301? Yes, DigiLink Doctor, Link Juice Keeper, all of them will do that. Is there a plugin for your PBNs where it automatically redirects incoming links to the homepage? Yeah, those will do that. I just want to make sure I didn't misspeak. There are other sites like Cloudflare you recommend. Yes, there are other sites out there. We like Cloudflare. That's the one that we use. So we really haven't experimented with other ones. We played with them a little bit, but just found Cloudflare to be, by far the best. And not only did we find it to be the best, but Jake and I are big firm believers. So we like to hide in plain sight. When Double Agent was created and stuff like that, it was using a lot of the same technology of other plugins that were already out there as far as, the iframing and stuff like that. So when it's seen, it's being used for tons of other legitimate purposes as well.
Yeah, if you guys like DigitalOcean, you go to any one of their pages on their website that's not like build your own droplet page, you get hit with a nice little div pop-up loading, and I chuckle every time because it's like literally 20 pixels from being like Double Agent and being a full width like loaded up iframe, but it's just click here, we got a new community, come sign up, register, blah blah blah. They're just looking to convert. It's the same reason we put up Double Agent, but they're throwing up a big advertisement using the same type of technology that we're using on our sites here. So when people are like, oh, they're gonna see it, no, not really.
Actually, there's one getting posted out right now, getting emailed out like crazy. Pop Monkey or something like that. Same exact thing. I mean, it's using very close to the same technology, except it's a pop-up window that actually comes down. Dude, pop-up windows work, man. I mean, it's just they're great stuff, Got that 301 redirect. So yeah, that's. I never even know when Frank is serious and when Frank's not serious. So, like I said, DigiLink Doctor, great. Link Juice Keeper. There's a couple of them out there.
I was thinking, if you want to load up a pop-up, it'd be a cool script to get around pop-up blockers themselves. You just attach it to a jQuery listen event on like a click object, and then you programmatically manipulate or synthesize that click on the server side itself. It's almost like clickjacking an item to load up a new window.
Somebody's asking, can they send a support ticket directly to Jake? Yeah, just put Jake's name in it, and we'll make sure it gets. DigiLink Doctor is no longer available, some people are saying. Dude, it was such a great little script. I still have it, but obviously I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna screw Andy like that, and I wouldn't hand it out. I will find something that is comparable to it, or if you guys want, put a post, or somebody hit up Mark Upshaw. I'll try and hit up Mark Upshaw as well. Mark has a bunch of other solutions.
And if he's no longer interested in maintaining the project, maybe we'll scoop it in as a.
I mean, like I said, it was a great plugin. I mean, I know that it was ridiculously expensive at the time. It was like, what was it? It was like $169 or something when I bought it. But it was worth every freaking penny. Is there any tricks to setting up footnotes on a landlord's type site? Does this help build the silo? Footnotes. Hey, I think Mark is actually on the webinar right now. Mark, I've been throwing out your name quite a bit, man, because like I always think about you when it comes to these link juicing, a link juice keeper and everything else. Maybe you could throw another forum post, or maybe we can find the one that you had started and just bump it up to the top again or something. You're the best, man. Like I said, for those of you guys that don't know, Mark and I we were in competition with one another when we were both on Infinitum about who's going to get the most comments and stuff. Mark blew me right out of the water. But let me just tell you, Mark, guys, he has like a ridiculous amount of knowledge, and just a super awesome, freaking cool guy too. Is the Cloudflare setup info on the advanced PBN intro webinar? I believe that it is. I believe that that's the one on the advanced PBN. All right, you know what? We're getting to the point where I'm not really seeing many questions coming in anymore, which is cool. We had a lot of people on the webinar actually. I promise you, we will get this webinar up as soon as we can. We will also get the other two up ASAP. Like I said, we're just slightly backlogged at the second. But I can guarantee you guys, like within the next week or two, you guys are going to start seeing some really, really cool things that we've like been in our little cave trying to put together. Did I miss something on the footnote question? Yeah, actually, no, I missed something on the footnote question, Doug. Okay, it looks like some more questions are popping in. I'm not sure what you mean by footnote. Just if you can clarify what you mean on the footnote for the landlord style sites. Okay, this is a good question. This is a really good question, right? So what is currently working apart from PBNs in the world of backlinks? That's actually...
I like my clandestine backlinks through like authoritative sources, like Wikipedia. I'm trying to scoop those up in related niches.
Yeah, and actually you guys can pick up stuff like from dead links and stuff like that. I think we showed you guys the Google operator that you could use in order to find the dead links on Wikipedia pages. And if not, we'll repost that. Actually, no, that's in the forum. I know that for a fact. But let's see. I mean, honestly, it's like PBNs. It's I'll tell you exactly what's working. I mean, and the stuff that we really use on a daily basis, right? So it's PBNs. It's
on-page SEO schema.
Right. It's also good, like I said, good press release distribution, and not only the press release distribution, but there are other sites out there like All Voices, a bunch of different sites where like you can become the news contributor. Those type of sites work great as long as once again you don't do like a self promotion, that sort of thing. They work awesome.
Yeah, search volume we've seen seems to have some, or not really search volume, but click-through rates for you versus other SERPs, or other results in the SERP seem to be affecting positioning a little bit. So that's something to keep an eye on. We know Google was doing that for a while, and then they said they weren't doing it, and now it looks like they're doing it again. Devin and Wyatt are, okay, I can't read that one all the way through. Just look online for the tattoo video. That was close enough for me, Frank.
Is there a resource for a newbie to get started? What to do first? Well, Ben, Greg, as far as a newbie goes, what I would suggest to do first is when you're on the SemEasy site, you can go to the SemLive archives, and it breaks it down into those the different sections. It depends on what you're looking to do, right? The PBN network. I would go through all of those. Recordings of the live training that we had. We are in fact getting up the whole training section into the courses, just taking us a little while. You can jump into the forums, that sort of stuff. But I would start with going through the SEM archive and going through the different sections that you want to learn. You got stuff on AdSense, you got stuff on the private blog networks. Private blog networks is huge, very important. And like I said, we have some other stuff in there. I mean, that's where I would get started first, by looking at those. Judd, I think I watched you show how to set up links to city pages in the footnote section of the page. Probably not, but we do have it in the directory. You know what, Doug? Hit me up afterwards and we'll go over it. Do I have a plugin that I know that will load Google News? No, not off the top of my head. I don't. But some of the curation content plugins will do that. But once again, I couldn't tell you which one it was off the top of my head. So is there a checklist somewhere that goes over the stuff we should be doing? Okay, a checklist of the stuff that you should be doing. I mean,
yeah, actually, someone was putting one together. I don't know what the progress was with it.
Yeah, all right, I'll have to look into it. I mean, I guess my question is, yeah, I understand exactly what's being asked, but on the flip side, I'm sitting here in my head going, what should you be doing? I can't tell you that you should be doing private blog networks. I can't tell you that you should be doing AdSense. I guess it all depends on what you're looking to get done and what you're looking to get accomplished. But in our training course section, that is exactly what we're looking to do. The training course section actually should be going up between today and tomorrow. At least the first section, all about WordPress, everything you want to know about WordPress. And it's going to have like a little quiz underneath it and everything else. And then what we're going to do is we're going through all of our live archive. I'm going to try and break those down. So like, for instance, running an SEO business, you can jump into that, and there's going to be questions, and we're going to break it down into smaller segments, a little bit easier to digest than having to go through the whole replay. So yes, I mean, once again, work in progress, but we definitely will be doing that. I have a domain parking script. It seems to be ranking well in Google, to rank Google News quite well for the keywords you choose. All right, and hit me up afterwards. Let's definitely, we can definitely talk about that. I'd like to find out, something that can pull in Google News. Sounds interesting to me. I mean, Google News is a great thing to have posted on your site if you can, that along with some spin text so you can make it like a curated method. It still works great. I mean, look at the Huffington Post, right?
Yeah, and I like your username.
Okay.
Let's see, my partner Scott Ryan is building small landlord type sites. He's building a 40-plus step checklist and is currently building a new site about every 6 hours, and they are ranking. We'll get that checklist from him and upload to the forum. Awesome. Yeah, 6 hours in our opinion is way too long, but it is all, money. It's all about the money. That's right. That's exactly right. Once you have the system up and running, you can bust it off to somebody else, and they can be spending their time putting together the sites, and then you just make the money from it. I add RSS to the widgets section. I was going to say that actually. If Google is exporting it through an RSS feed, you should be able to take it straight in either through the XML RPC on WordPress itself or through a third-party plugin on WordPress.
Okay. All I have is on the username. It's info. It says, so is there a checklist somewhere where we discuss that? Do me a favor. Shoot in a support ticket. because obviously if you're having a hard time navigating, I'm going to try and pick your brain. I'm going to try and make this, we're going to try and work, and create something that you think would work great for the newbie. Jake and I, we always talk about, just about everything, but one of the things we were talking about was one of the audio books I was going through, and just a whole training I was going through in reference to sales and everything else. And sometimes what happens is, we speak from our, without getting too technical, right? Well, we speak from our neocortex, right? And unfortunately, sometimes it's received by somebody who is not using the neocortex. We call it the croc brain, right? So sometimes we're speaking to the wrong, we're speaking to the wrong portion of our brain.
And they're receiving it with a completely separate. So,
right,
there's a disconnect. It's just called not being on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and you know what? And when that's a problem, obviously, as I told you, we like the criticism, the constructive criticism, as long as it's constructive and not bashing. I mean, nobody likes to get bashed inside and out, but we do anyway. But yeah, listen, we would love to just get some insight and figure out exactly what would be the easiest method to make sure that anybody coming in, can digest everything properly. And Joe, if you happen to be on this webinar too, hit me up as well, because I know that you were working on something at the beginning. Maybe we can get that working again. All right, somebody's saying that they add an RSS widget into into the widget section for the Google News. That actually works too, because once again, every time the Google crawlers come to it, they'll actually see something different on the site. It's actually not a bad it's actually not a bad suggestion at all. Hey, we're new at this, it takes us longer. No, that's not an issue at all. Crap, how do you build these sites in 6 hours much less faster? Like I said, we're building some of these sites. Jake, one of the tests that you ran, wasn't it like...
It was 180,000 individual locales, so it spanned literally every single possible zip code in the United States. It built the site and deployed it in 12 minutes. That's granted, it was running on my local machine, but even still, we thought there was going to be some speed differential when we loaded online, because we're deving locally with like an Intel Core i7.
Pitch anything, Brian. That's it. Yeah, Brian, you got it. Pitch anything. That's exactly what it is. A great book, by the way, if you guys want to get a good book. Really, really, really good book. And Jason, yes, we actually did speak a couple of weeks ago. You know what? Hit me up. I think you got my email. Just shoot me an email. If not, put the support ticket in and we'll talk.
Yeah, but you could ask Andy. I was literally like racking my brain for 2 days straight, coming up with the build algorithm to be able to deploy these sites and have everything interlinked properly within the database, so there's no clashing issues and whatnot. It took some time and a lot of pieces of paper and a few pens, but it's really, really cool. It's really cool to see it in action, and now that it's all working, we're just in the final phases of getting it all ready to launch.
All right, you guys got anything else? It's amazing, man. Almost everybody hung in there too.
Yeah, every time. I don't get it.
Okay, you know what? Here's another one. I'm going to write this one down too. Hungry Feed allows you to put RSS feeds into pages. I played with RSS feeds into pages, and it worked great back in the day. And then what happens is obviously, shiny object syndrome back in the day, and I would jump onto something else and, and then sometimes go back and revisit things. But, shiny object syndrome to me has kind of died, unless I see something that's just completely, absolutely outrageous. I kind of stick to my core, and it's what makes us money.
Yeah, with that said, speaking of making money, share us on Facebook, post us on a friend's wall, or something like that, and we'll pick one of you to win $20.
Hey, there you go, Jake.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all making money.
We're all making money, yeah, so let's see, contest rules, minimum of 5 participants, so we gotta get at least 5 shares over the next 24 hours for there to be a reward. So share it well, and then we'll pick one of you. You get $20. And that's the furthest extent of the Seme Easy affiliate program.
Jake, I know that there were people asking about, you know, like index assault and everything else in reference to subdomains. Once again, we're just, you know, that's not 100.
Yeah, I haven't tested it on subdomains. I can do some tests, and if there's anybody who has problems with it running on the subdomain, oh no, that's a lie. I did it on demo.semeasy.com. I shouldn't have any problems doing subdomains, guys. There's absolutely no reason for it to have any problem working on a subdomain.
Also, guys, if you get something in your mail that says that we canceled your subscription to SemEasy, that's not us canceling it. It's because your payment didn't go through, and that's what PayPal sends you. We've gotten a bunch of people going, "You canceled my subscription." I go, "No, the payment didn't go through, so the system canceled your subscription." It wasn't Jake or I sitting there pressing the button saying, "We don't want you."
No, you didn't pay us, so goodbye. No, the server does that automatically.
Somebody says, does Google treat subdomains as separate sites?
Yes and no. We went over that a little bit a few weeks ago. We dissected that part of Google's algorithm, or their patent, I should say. They posted out there for the world to see. They do and they don't. They'll treat them as completely individual unless they're in the same sort of niche or family, and then they start relating them. And then there's some like latent semantic processing they do in regards to like sentence structure and how stuff is laid out around the sites themselves. Really the neurolinguistics of the site is analyzed. It's pretty cool what they're doing. And it's how they've been able to get their answer boxes and stuff to work as well. So it's really cool to see that in action. But you know, if you're trying to think, oh, I got to bank 10 IP addresses, or it wouldn't be IP addresses, but like I'm limited on IP addresses or whatnot, and I bang out a network of sites, and no, you're not going to be able to infiltrate the SERPs with just one site subbed out a bunch of times, like 8 or 9 times. They're not going to do it. We've tried. Yeah, and you could do completely different sites on subdomains. Absolutely. Like, there's no reason you can't. I got a police officer stuck on the FDR here. Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
All right, cool.
So somebody's asking, is IA now compatible with WP installed in a subdirectory?
Well, no, that hasn't been addressed yet. That's on the track for the next stable release, the full version release.
So is it better to build out completely different sites than on subdomains? We build out completely separate sites.
Yeah, it's $10. It's nothing.
Right. Since a high PR domain, blank, does the juice from that domain flow to the subdomains? Once again, yes and no.
If they're related and they're showing up in Google's, you know, tiered them down to be in the same niche or related niches, then yeah, it's going to start cross-populating when they're crawling. But if you have a site about dogs and then a site about oranges, Google doesn't see the correlation between the two. Doesn't care about it. Nope, thank you. I'm sure a lot of people just learned something. Yeah, that's why I like having these sessions. I'm always apprehensive going into it because I always feel ill-prepared for them. But there's actually a good bit that's discussed during it, you know? Never really thought of it from that perspective. Just talking about a lot of cool stuff.
All right. Any other questions, guys? We're going to probably start to wrap this up here. We've been going now for about an hour and 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like it. You should be shamed. Frank's mom's digits. That's up to Frank whether he wants to put those out there or not.
Also, you know what? We actually, Jake, I don't think we scheduled out what the next training is going to be.
Okay. So why don't we ask these guys what they want?
Hey guys, you know what? This is what I'd like to see. Jump on our Facebook page and...
Yeah, all these other guys, I don't get it. Well, I know why they have so much interaction on their Facebook pages, because they don't have awesome community pages or community websites like we do, but we gotta we got to bump up the count so those new members, what do? They don't have access to the forum anymore, so they go and they search online for Seme, and then they see the Facebook page with tons of likes, but not really that much participation. And, we just want to pump up our presence all over the place.
So what I would tell you is that...
oh, you're welcome, Tatum. Yeah, you just go and hit...
You know what, go ahead and post on our Facebook page what training you want to see. I mean, we're definitely more than receptive. If I don't know how to do it, then we'll get an expert on here that does know how to do it, or we'll figure it out. We just want to make sure. I mean, I have things in my head that I think are important, but sometimes other people don't think that they're as important. I would like to go over on-page SEO, local SEO, some competitive strategies. The competitive strategies are more for, for your business, that type of competitive strategies. Those are some of the things that we have, we have right now on our radars, that we could definitely push out. But
maybe we do like a soup to nuts basics. That seems to be like a big question everybody has. Is like,
we could absolutely do that. The only reason why I hate doing that is because then some people that are a little bit more advanced, they turn around and say, well, I didn't get anything out of this. But yeah, we can definitely do a soup to nut basics.
Yeah, and if you're an advanced member, then just stay home from school.
As a new member, it's nice to listen to something more than 10 minutes without being pitched. Yeah. Now, guys, you guys realize that we really don't do a whole lot of pitching at all.
Yeah, we may hype something up or psych you guys out or whatnot, but we don't pitch shit. Or we don't pitch shit, We pitch good products when we have them, and that's pretty much it,
And actually, you'll notice that we don't, we might talk about somebody else's product, like for instance, like Spin Rewriter, shit like that, but you'll never see an affiliate email come out from us. If something does come out, you'll never see an affiliate on it just because of the fact that, at least not through Seme. I mean, we don't do any of that stuff. It's just not how we do it.
Let's see.
Somebody was saying CPA conversion training. Yeah, we can definitely go into CPA conversion. That's cost per acquisition training. Thanks, Frank. Yeah, but I was
used to listening. Yeah, it's he's built quite the persona. I will say that.
Richard, when it talks about when you're asking about more detail on the PBM building, I would go through the ones that we have done already right in the SEM archive. We kind of went from like beginning to advanced. If you've been through all of those, if you have any specific questions or there's something that you feel like we left out, definitely we'll address that.
All right, so we gotta jump on the phone with Frank.
No. Tomorrow, noon.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Hey, Frank, tomorrow noon.
All right.
High noon.
Well, back to work for me. This has been a fun break, guys.
Yep. So, guys, thanks so much. And that's about it, I guess.
Yep. All right. Thanks for stopping by. And remember, participate on Facebook. Get your $20.
Yeah, guys. Like I said, post on the Facebook page exactly what you guys would like to see, and we'll get it out there.
Yep. All right, guys. Awesome. Thanks for sticking around. Peace out.